Philippians 4:11 through 13. Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. I know how to be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I have learned to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Hi, I'm Jeff Gipe, pastor of New Creation, Huntington Beach, and this is the KWAVE Devotional of the Week. The Apostle Paul had found himself in a bit of a pickle. He had a need, and the Philippian believers were going to be sending him a financial gift to help him with his need. But there was a delay in the gift getting to him. And so Paul, after receiving the gift, wrote this letter to thank them, but also to encourage them that he was not complaining, but in fact he had learned to be content in all things. Two words are vitally important to understand. The first is learned. The verb learned means to learn by experience. Paul had to go through many trials and tribulations to learn to be content. It didn't come to him naturally, nor did it come to him immediately. The second word is the word content. The Greek word for content means to be self-sufficient in a good sense. I think we naturally learn how to be self-sufficient in a bad sense. It's our natural behavior when we have to wait on something to jump in and try to take control of it in order to make it happen. But that usually leaves us very discontent. Paul learned to be self-sufficient in a good sense. There were times in Paul's life that the Lord allowed him to be reduced down to having nothing, and there were other times that the Lord allowed him to abound in everything. Paul learned through it all he needed to do was to wait on the Lord. Paul wrote to the Corinthians, "Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think of anything of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God." Listen, with Christ, we can do all things. Without Him, we can do nothing. Have you found yourself in a pickle today? Are you waiting for something? Are you waiting for a new loan for a home? Are you waiting for a job? Whatever it is that you're waiting for, follow Paul's example. Wait on the Lord supernaturally and not naturally. You see, Paul learned to be content because he had a heavenly perspective. His priorities were straight. He knew that God was in control. And knowing that God was in control, he knew that God would work all things together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Charles Spurgeon was another great man of God that learned to be content. And he wrote this, "We ought surely be content with such things as we have. For who has God has more than all the world." I'm Jeff Gipe, pastor of New Creation, Huntington Beach, and this has been your KWAVE Devotional of the Week.